Yeah, that's a good idea.
啊，上光了。
My plans after this, I'm in Boston for a couple weeks,
吓我。
and after that, I will be moving out to LA and working my way up in the camera department.
I am Yu Xiang and I'm the director of Intersection. I already graduated on August, but I'm so glad I still have chance to show my work here. Thank you. And it's not a graduate, so I'm still working on some advertisement. Hope I can have more work in the future. Yeah, thank you.
I'm the documentary cuts director, and yeah, that's all. Thank you.
I'm Louis Tribides. I'm the director of There's Light Outside. And beyond this, I hope to still keep making movies, short movies, and eventually move out to LA.
All right, you guys have questions for them? Somebody has to go first. Right.
对，有些是博士。
Yeah, sure. Why don't you go down for all the way down?
Okay,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah,
okay.
speak louder, guys.
All right, offcuts for me.
Intersection, first one.
The documentary,
Speak louder. Wait.
the documentary, the cut.
There's Light Outside.
是不是？ Good job. Very good job.
Question. Yes?
For the documentary, how did you choose that person, or how did you come to find?
Actually, one day night I'm working and I saw the band, his barber shop went, and I'm very interesting, and
他
I
拍的
asked
是那个黑
him,
人。
can I get your phone number? And then I sent the master for the CRISPR and ask him can be my character. Actually, I have a other one, but I follow her for 2 months, but I didn't find the very good story, so I changed. And he come today.
Yes?
First of all, congratulations to all of you. It's really amazing to see all of these films. I have two questions, one for Caitlin and one for Louis. So, Caitlin, in Offcuts, you use a lot of different textures that evoke similar emotions, and I'm talking about smoke, like fabric and water. Could you tell us more about that? And Louis, my second question. I know you have been working a lot on this film, and you took a lot of time writing it and world building, and I was wondering how you got these inspirations and how you kind of formed your imagination to tell these stories.
Well, that's a great question, and I kind of am glad you asked both of them at once, because world building was kind of, even though mine's not completely narrative, it was a big part of kind of the pre-production process. I had these 3 scenes that I wanted to shoot for different reasons. They were all challenging in different ways and kind of new, but I didn't want it to seem like 3 random moments. I wanted to tie them together, make them cohesive. So you do see the smoke popping up, you see fabric as kind of a motif throughout. So yeah, I could go into it more, but that's exactly kind of what you're talking about, just kind of trying to tie the 3 storylines together and give the audience some kind of message.
Yeah, for the world building in my movie, I'm the type of person that's really into fantasy and sci-fi. And so when I came up with the idea, I came off the heels of, the same year I came up with the idea, it came off the heels of, I think it was the year Mad Max Fury Road came out and Snowpiercer, and I just wanted to merge the 2 ideas together. So it just came about with what if there was a post-apocalyptic world where people are living below ground and there's just snow on the surface, and just very claustrophobic, very contained. And it just kept evolving from there.
Thank you.
What's your inspiration for Intersection?
It's based on my real story.
The real story?
Yeah, so it's like my true experience, and I feel our real life is full twist and the drama, so I changed it into a story. Because in my experience, I can only know what happens on me. So I create the other two chapters for the police officer and the two teenagers to show the story from their perspective, to show how strangers' life intersect together.
So they're different real.
Mm-hmm.
Did your story have a happy ending?
Originally in my script, it's not a really happy ending because, but it's depend on how you decide, how you define a happy ending. Is the Chinese couple, they come together, is a happy ending, or they can move on to face they already break up, is a happy ending. Because in fact, in these 3 chapters, they all have their kind of bad day, but at the end they can accept it and they got something at the end.
Other questions?
If I have a question, regarding that's Light Outside, I really like that film. I think that's a masterpiece. Very, very good. And it's like hollow style. Okay. And how did you find those two, these two actors? I think they are very, very professional. I really like them. I think they make this feel so real. I feel I'm kind of like, I almost cry. I think it's very touching. Feel it's very real.
Well, one of the actors is actually a personal friend of mine because I used to do theaters in undergrad, and I just reached out to him personally and I invited him to auditions. And when he had showed up to auditions, he did phenomenal. I just originally envisioned him. I think it was the guy who wears like the beekeeper-ish outfit. He's my personal friend from back when I was an undergrad over at UMass Boston. The other actor I actually found on posting I did on Backstage. I did an online posting, and he showed up to the auditions. He was someone I'd never met before, but I auditioned him. And he turned out to just be really good as he was reading the lines. And eventually I just got the two of them together in a room, and they just started bouncing lines back and forth off of each other. And I said to myself, okay, I think these are it. I think these are my 2 characters for the film. And then we just moved forward from there.
Thank you.
Sean,
I had a question about your experience over the course of being in the grad program. And my question is how you think you've changed as an artist or as a filmmaker from the first day of grad school to right now. I'm not, aside from just I have more experience, but your process or your interest in production.
I can speak to that first. I think going in, because I actually went to undergrad at Emerson, so I'm maybe a little unique in that. I didn't expect to learn as much as I did. Like, I expected to learn, obviously, because I came back, but I think it's been quite a process of growth. I think the biggest change is actually how much I appreciate and value and can leverage collaboration. Kind of understanding that there's a lot of talent out there, and I can't be the best that I could be unless I'm working with the best people and kind of collaborating in that kind of an environment. So that's actually been amazing. Both grad, undergrad, people who aren't even Emerson related kind of came together on this project, but also kind of on all the projects I've worked on at Emerson. That's been one thing that always kind of holds true.
It's a question for all of us.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm curious how you changed as an artist from before you started grad school to now when you finished.
Because in my undergraduate, my major is film literature or film drama literature. It's more about how you write a script. And when the audience see our different pieces, we can see we'll have different characteristics in our work. Like mine is narrative, and her is more about DP scenes. I think in the past I always use a writer's logic to think about a story, and now after the work with people, and I now I see my work, I can see a lot of problem. It's like how you change a story into a short film. It still need a lot of cinematography work because like novel and a film is a different things. You need to use shots to tell a story is different. So that's what I'm still need to working on.
For me, my undergraduation is the major is production design. So when I come to Emerson, I didn't thinking I can make documentary, and now I made it, and I feel it's like a dream, and now I'm wake up because I'm graduated.
Well, for me, I feel like I've experienced so much growth. When I came into the program originally, I had come from a background in theater, so I had no idea like how to actually like be on set. How do I talk to a DP? How do I talk to a sound person? Just what Caitlin said, just like the collaboration involved. Like I had no idea how to do that when I first got into the program. And now, I feel like now that I'm on my way out, I just feel like I could go back and I could redo this film I did, and I could just correct all the things that I felt like I might have done wrong. But it was just like this never-ending evolution when I first came into the program. And just to piggyback off of what you just said, I feel like this is kind of a dream right now because I feel like a filmmaker, and it's, I'm just on my way out of Emerson, and I just want to keep making more movies, and I just can't believe I just made a movie and presented it in front of you guys.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can think of either a challenge or a problem or a mistake that you made through your thesis process that turned out to be like a blessing in disguise.
You want to start at the other end?
Okay. Well, some of you may have heard this story, but when I was filming, I just want to tell everyone that when you're filming a movie, and this is obvious, you just have to make sure that you have all your permits, you have permission for filming. Because there was an incident where I got so caught up with my own vision that there was a location I wanted to film at. I knew I just couldn't get the permission to be there to actually film. But I decided, you know what, if my actors and my crew are okay with it, maybe if they're gung-ho enough, maybe we can go into this location, we can film what we need to very quickly and get out. That obviously didn't work out the way I planned. We went in and we got caught by security. And luckily though, it ended up being a blessing because I was able to like bounce back from it. This occurred back in May of 2017. I had to stop production, and then production picked back up in November of that same year. But luckily when I came back stronger than ever. I was more determined. I had felt defeated for several months, but I came back with a stronger crew. My actors, they were ready to go, and we found a brand new location, this time with permission. And we were able to get it done, and what you saw there, the whole apartment scene between the two characters in my movie, that was from a friend of mine who lent us his basement, and we were able to get it done, and it ended up being a better movie.
For me, actually, I just one crew member for the shooting, just sound person with me. So when I'm done and I saw my documentary, I saw a lot problem, like the camera move and shaking sometimes, but I cannot shoot it again for the documentary. me and to edit it. So I cut it a lot for the shaking footage and let it looking maybe more professional. Yeah, that's my challenge.
My lesson after this is always that right person to do the right thing. Because at the beginning, I always, my idea is I want to try more, I want to do more things by myself. But yeah, I'm not that professional person with a lot of experience, and I'm not a very organized person. So I edited this film by myself because I think I can try a different way. Like Jen and Sean, they advised me to try linear, non-linear, and traditional way and more experimental way. Yeah, that's not a problem, but the problem is I didn't organize my footage very well in my hard drive. So when for the next stage, for the sound and for the color mix, they were really pissed off. Say it's all mess. I can't find anything I want unless you help me to clean it. And I think every position is really important because every part is connected. So if you don't really know the workflow, don't do that by yourself. Let the right person do the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine, so I've always said that sound is the bane of my existence. I'm a cinematography major, and like if there's one thing that I'm intentionally ignorant of, it's sound equipment, it's microphones. So when it came time to kind of make the decision for, am I gonna record location sound? How many people do I have on set for that? I did make the conscious decision just not to record location sound at all. I had some scratch tracks on the cameras, but I said I'm gonna deal with this later intentionally, and hope that it works out because I don't have all the knowledge to kind of be making this decision. That is one decision that I made. I had some information, but I knew that it could potentially cause some more wasted time later. What that ended up causing me to do later on was talk to some really talented people who knew what they were doing later. Dora Tomek, who spent a semester here from Germany in the program, is an incredibly talented sound designer, and she kind of took the reins on creating a soundscape for it, which I think is beautiful. She really gets it. So that plus Foley plus a little more time, maybe a couple more days spent thinking about sound than I would have liked, but I don't usually make decisions without all the information, and so I'm really glad that that worked out and I connected with some really talented people on that end.
Other questions? Yes?
So, obviously as filmmakers, I think this can kind of apply to all of you, when you're writing a film, conceptualizing it, your imagination just runs wild, you come up with all kinds of crazy ideas and great ideas, and you start putting it on paper, it's like, oh, this is gonna be amazing, I have all these amazing ideas, it's gonna turn into a great story. Did you incur any challenges as far as like, having to make compromises, things didn't turn out exactly the way you had pictured them. Like, do you have any stories about that and how you overcame those challenges? Like, I think this might especially apply to maybe there's like
Yeah. Well, for There's Light Outside, when I originally wrote the script, my imagination was going wild. And I think this has happened to some of us when we're writing a story, we're just thinking infinite budget. And so originally there were ideas where I had this idea was actually on a much more grander scale, and I had to tone it down. Like originally it was layered in a way where it was almost like a feature film. And I was trying to compact it into 15 minutes. And it evolved after like 8 drafts, because like the first 3 drafts were sort of infinite budget, and then I started toning it down. I started writing around over, there's what I want to do, and then there's what I can realistically do. And I just started writing around that. And eventually I got to a point where I got a draft where I had locations in mind. And I knew people who was able to get me access to those locations. And they'd be locations that would work for the script as opposed to locations that I'm just imagining in my head that there's no way I'd have a budget for production design to accomplish. But I just wrote around it when I was just creating the drafts.
Others? Anything you want to say about that?
When I write my script, it's pretty smooth, but I have to say, when I finish my film, it's not really exactly what I imagine when I write my script. In my original idea, it could be more untraditional with different, with a lot of weird shot and has a kind of a sense of black humor. But when it's come out, it's more like a plain story. It's like what happens in our daily life. But I also accept that and I love it. Sometimes you just need to accept it may not exactly same as you want to show and you want to write. Yeah.
Yeah, for mine, I know it's shorter than some of the films here, but there were a lot of things that I'd never experienced doing before, a lot of firsts. I'd never been scuba diving before. I didn't know anyone who owned a junkyard, which, maybe you all do, but that's not something that I have easy access to. So for me, it was a lot about letting my imagination run wild, but I'm also a very pragmatic person, and I knew that I was not going to be able to do this alone. So for this, I was actually very lucky to find a producer in Dan Frank who would kind of take all these plans, look at it, take a minute of silence and be like,